Daniel Ek sat here and he said the same thing. He goes, one of the most important metrics that I think about at Spotify is our mistake rate.
Yeah.
And people will think, okay, so he wants to limit mistakes. Very much the opposite. He wants to make sure that the company maintains that sort of startup mentality and they increase their rate of mistakes. And this brings me to something which I kind of hit me like a truck in your new book, Same as Ever, which was this idea that we need to keep running. Now, there are areas in my professional life where I've been successful. Podcast is doing well, I think, doing pretty well. And I had a car journey with Jemima, who's through the wall, who you met. And last time we came to LA, I'm in the front seat of the car and I go, Jemima, do you know what our biggest threat is now? Complacency. When people get successful, they play defense to their detriment. They don't play offense as much as they need to keep up with the rate of change in the world. And then a young, scrappy, agile incumbent who has a high risk appetite will take their cheese.
Right.
And your chapter on Keep Running, there's two quotes that I really pulled out. The chapter's called Keep Running. And the two quotes that I pulled out were, competitive advantages tend to be short-lived, often because their success plants the seeds of their own decline. One more quote. It's easy to overlook how many forces pull you away from your competitive advantage once you have one, specifically because you have one. Success has its own gravity.
That's right. And the biggest source of gravity there is laziness. The reason you're successful is because you work so hard to get to where you were. And now that you feel like you've made it, now that you feel like you're on the top of the mountaintop, you get lazy. And that's so many companies fall for that. So many careers fall for that. There's a great story from Jerry Seinfeld where he said that one of the reasons that he quit the show when it was still going gangbusters is because he could start to sense that what made the show successful was starting to go away. He said, and part of the reason is because he got so famous. When he was not that famous, he could go sit in a coffee shop and watch how people ordered their coffee and make a joke out of it. He was observing how society worked. Once he got very famous, he couldn't do that anymore. He was too famous to go sit in a deli and watch how people ordered their sandwiches. He couldn't do it. So therefore, he didn't have a lot of the source material that he had before. And so he was like, look, what made me so funny and the show so successful, I can't do anymore. So like, red alert, let's pull the plug before it gets really bad here. So that's like a very specific example, but what he realized that what made him successful was gone.